Mama's court is now in session. Today's case is for the men. A man has brought his wife to Mama's court because he thinks she is cheating, but he says she denies everything. So I brought my evidence to Mama's court. Here are the things that made him suspicious. Evidence number 1. I started noticing something strange with her phone. Before, her phone could sit anywhere, on the table, on the couch. Sometimes she would even leave it in another room. But lately, she keeps it face down. She carries it everywhere, even to the bathroom. And whenever a message comes in, she quickly turns the screen away from me. I also noticed something else. She laughs and smiles at her phone more than she talks to me. Sometimes she's texting late at night, so I asked her who she was talking to. She said, "It's just a friend." But something didn't feel right. One day I glanced at her phone, and there were very few message threads, almost like conversations had been deleted, but throughout the day, I still hear notifications coming in, and that's when I started wondering what messages I'm not seeing. Evidence number 2. I started hearing new names in our conversations, men I had never heard of before. She would mention them casually, like they had always been around. But I had never met any of them, and somehow, they were people she talked to often. One name in particular kept coming up. Sometimes she said he was a coworker. Other times, she said he was just a friend, someone new in her life. So I asked her more about him. But every time I asked questions, the answers were short, almost dismissive, like she didn't want to talk about it. Around the same time, her schedule also started changing. She began working late more often, running more errands after work, and sometimes she would be unreachable for hours. I also noticed something else. She started putting much more effort into her appearance. New clothes, more attention to her hair and makeup, even when she said she was just going out for a little while. And that's when I really started wondering if something else was going on. Evidence number 3. I started noticing how she reacted when I asked simple questions. If I asked where she went or who she was with, the conversation would quickly turn into an argument. It felt like normal questions suddenly became a problem. I also noticed her attitude toward me started changing. Some days she was warm, kind, almost like nothing was wrong, but other days, she seemed irritated, distant, like she didn't want to be around me. The emotional energy in our relationship started to feel inconsistent. And something else changed too. She stopped sharing things about her day. We used to talk about everything, work, friends, little things that happened during the day. But now, those conversations feel short, almost forced, like she's holding something back. Evidence number 4. I also started noticing changes in our intimacy. Before, we were very affectionate with each other. She was attentive. She liked holding hands, hugging, checking in on me during the day, and our physical relationship was very active. But lately, that part of our relationship has changed. She doesn't seem interested in sex the way she used to be. Sometimes she avoids the conversation completely. Other times, she says she's just not in the mood. What confused me the most is how different things used to be. Before, all she wanted was for us to spend time together. We would plan things, laugh together, look forward to seeing each other. Now, it feels like that energy is gone. The affection is different, the attention is different, and the connection we once had doesn't feel the same anymore. Evidence number 5. I also started noticing how often she wanted to go out by herself. Girls' nights suddenly started happening more often, and at first, I didn't think much about it, but sometimes when she came home, the details about where she went or who she was with felt vague. Her stories didn't always add up. Small details would change, times didn't match, and some explanations just felt inconsistent. Another thing that stood out to me was her location sharing. Before, she never cared about it. But suddenly, she turned off her location services, and when I asked about it, she said she didn't like being tracked. Whenever I asked where she had been, she would say she was hanging out with her friends. Sometimes, when we started arguing about it, she would even call one of her friends to confirm they were out together. Sometimes they said they were at a bar. Other times, they said they went to a concert or that she had joined an exercise class. But on several occasions, when she came home late, the argument would turn in a different direction. Instead of answering my questions, she would start accusing me of cheating. And that made me wonder about something, because sometimes when a person feels guilty, they start projecting. And I started noticing that she would accuse me of cheating or being suspicious, even when I hadn't done anything at all. Bad Mama says, hold on a minute. You might be exaggerating this situation. Just because a woman has friends, goes out with those friends, or wants privacy with her phone, does not automatically mean she's cheating. People are allowed to have their own lives. They are allowed to have their own space. And sometimes, when a person feels constantly questioned, they start pulling away. Maybe she's not hiding anything. Maybe she's simply tired of feeling like she's being investigated. And maybe you are reading too much into behavior that isn't meant to be suspicious. But Good Mama sees it differently. Good Mama says, each behavior on its own may seem small, but when several of them appear together, they begin to create doubt in the relationship. Being unclear about where you are, coming home late without explanation, turning simple questions into arguments, and avoiding direct answers. Those behaviors damage trust. In a healthy relationship, both people should feel secure. When one partner begins to feel uncertain, that concern deserves clarity. If she wants this relationship to continue, then she must address the behavior that is creating doubt. That means being honest about where she is, clear about the people in her life, and respectful of the boundaries within the relationship. Good Mama has heard enough. Mama's court verdict? Guilty. Not necessarily guilty of cheating beyond all doubt, but guilty of creating behavior that destroys trust in a relationship. When someone becomes secretive with their phone, unclear about where they are, defensive when simple questions are asked, and inconsistent in their explanations, those behaviors create suspicion. Even if cheating has not been proven completely, the behavior itself damages the foundation of the relationship. A healthy relationship requires honesty, transparency, and respect for each other's boundaries. If she wants this relationship to continue, then the behavior that created this doubt must stop, because trust cannot survive where secrecy lives. Court is adjourned. Mama's court will be back in session Friday at 7 p.m., but Mama wants to hear from you. Do you agree with Mama's verdict, or do you think he is overreacting? Comment your verdict below. And if you want to hear more real relationship cases, subscribe, because Mama's court is now officially open.